Ladies and gentlemen, currently there have many obstacles in the implementation of general elections, which occur in Indonesia due to uncertain committee conditions. I am the first speaker as government side of the House. What we want is we have to implement electronic voting for general elections. I have three goals in my speech. Number one, make it easier for the committee in the general election process. Number two, reduce the problems that occur during the election process. Number three, reduce fraud in the voting process. How to apply this motion? By implementing electronic voting in the electoral process by way of e-voting for the example. I will define some words from the motion. Is electronic voting and general election. What is electronic voting? Electronic voting is voting that uses electronic means to either aid or take care of casting and counting ballots. What is general election? General election is a political voting election where generally all or most members of a given political body are chosen. I will deliver three argumentations. Number one, what is principally justified to implement electronic voting? Number two, why it's important to do? Number three, why the implement electronic is worth it to follow. Moving to first argumentation. Why is principally justified to implement electronic voting? Firstly, because in the application of e-voting or electronic voting, the process is faster, more effective, and accountable. If there is easier access, why do we still apply the difficult one? And we can take lessons with the condition we are currently experiencing during a pandemic period like this. Of course, it's difficult to interact directly. If this general election is carried out properly, in the condition like today, of course the government will find it difficult to formulate an election strategy. With e-voting, we can prevent this from happening if conditions like this happen again. Second reason, technology is currently developing in all parts of the world, including Indonesia itself. If other countries have implemented a voting system like this, why not our country? Of course, our country will be seen as a more advanced in technology. If the implementation of this voting system is carried out, so implementation of electronic voting is if it's so very effective to do. Therefore, government have to implement this motion for general election. Why it's important to do? Because in this application, there will be many advantages to be gained. Because, firstly, easy in calculation. Why? Of course, in electronic voting, in order to count the votes, it's faster when compared by opening the ballot papers one by one and taking notes, which is quite a waste of time. In addition, if the implementation of e-voting doesn't require time, money, and the possibility of errors but in voting, and counting errors is very small. Second reason, with implementation of electronic voting that can prevent fraud, there have been many fraudulent incidents in this general election, and it's certainly very disappointing for the committee. For what they choose with this implementation is guaranteed that there will be no fraud because voters have have detected it through their KTV. Second reason, of course, in the general election process, we don't know if there still will be any obstacles that will occur, such as the absence of a vehicle when you want to go to in the location of the general election, or sudden business that cannot be postponed. So this implementation is carried out. This will certainly make it very easy for people to carry out the election process only by accessing the electronic voting, and then because with this electronic voting a person is not required to be present at the electronic in the election location. Moving to last argumentation, why the implement electronic it's worth it to follow. Indeed, the application of electronic voting, one must need electronic media to access a voting in the context of this election, and not everyone has access to a voting. But this is not problem if voting is still implemented. Why? Is it because there are still many places that provide access to this, like internet cafe, for example, and finally, if during the election period there will be definitely be many people opening classes, which is provide access to e-voting. Besides that, the government must also provide places for the voting process. In areas where internet access is difficult, and also for people who less fortunate, so there is no need to worry if these obstacles occur, because the government has overcome them first. I proven two things in my speech. Number one, if voting is effective electoral process. Number two, if voting will create to be easier for the people in election process. So this is all what I can tell. Thank you.